Meeting called to order. The Runnymede Board of Education meeting is called to order. The Board of Education is in compliance with Chapter 231 of Public Laws of 1975 entitled the Open Public Meetings Act. The time, date, and location of this meeting was appropriately advertised by notifying the retrospect and carrier posts, as well as posting notices in Barrow Hall, Runnymede Post Office, Maryville School, Align Bingham School, Grace Downing School, and the Runnymede Public School District website. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Patty. Roll call board members.
Patricia Adair.
She's working late.
Angel Beebe.
Here.
Charles Buckheim.
Present.
Naomi Davidson.
Here.
Maria Panzarella.
Here.
Patricia Smith.
Here.
Samantha Spalding.
Here.
Lynn Terrell.
Here.
And John Wark.
He's working and he will be late.
Okay.
Also present, Mark Ianucci, Superintendent of Schools, and Joanne Augustine, Business Administrator Board Secretary. At this time, I need a motion to go into executive session. Is there a pen?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Chaz, seconded by Maria. Whereas the Senator Byron M. Bayer Open Public Meetings Act requires that all meetings of the Runnymede School District Board of Education be held in public, NJSA 10:4-12B sets forth 9 types of matters that may lawfully be discussed in executive session without the public being permitted to attend. And whereas the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education has deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain matters which are exempted from the public, and whereas the 9 exemptions to public meetings set forth in NJSA 10:4-12B are listed below, and next to each exception is a box in which the number of issues to be privately discussed that fall within that exception shall be written. And after each exception is a space where additional information will disclose as much information about the decision as possible without undermining the purpose of the exception shall be written. Now therefore be it resolved that the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education will go into closed session for the following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12. And it is any matter involving the employment. Where are we at? There we go. Appointment, termination of employment, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance, promotion, or discipline of any specific prospective public officer or employee or current public officer or employee employed or appointed by the public body unless all individual public employees or appointees whose rights could be adversely affected request in writing such matter or matters to be discussed at public. More specifically, we're going to be discussing the secretarial changes that we made earlier and salary. Whereas the length of the executive session is undetermined, however, the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education will make every attempt to estimate the time of the session prior to convening the session, after which the public meeting shall reconvene at 5:30 p.m. and the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education will proceed with business. Now therefore be it resolved that the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education will go into executive session for only the above stated reasons. Be it further resolved that the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education hereby declares that a discussion of the aforementioned subjects may be made public at a time when the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education attorney advises that the disclosure of the discussion will not detrimentally affect any right, interest, or duty of the school district or any other entity with respect to said discussion. Be it further resolved that the Runnymede Public School District Board of Education, for the aforementioned reason, hereby declares that the public is excluded from this portion of the meeting during which the above discussion shall take place, and hereby directs the board secretary to take the appropriate action to effectuate the terms of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the board secretary on the next business day following this meeting shall furnish a copy of this resolution to any member of the public who requests one at the fees allowed by NJSA 47:1A-1. Action on any item may or may not be taken in open session at the conclusion of the executive session, and this evening there will be action taken after our executive session. So I have my motion, I have my second, all in favor to go into executive session? Okay, so we already had motions to return to public session. At this time, I'm open up to public comments on agenda items only. Is there any public comments at this time?
Can I just make an adjustment? There's a dance there. It's not by PTA, it's student council.
Thank you.
And can we add 3 subs to that list that were given? I hate to do this in a public meeting, but They were given there and they're already scheduled to sub next week.
Substitutes for regular teacher positions or aides or just
Regular teaching, Derek Phillips, Arlene Flight,
And Patricia Papert Corsino.
all their paperwork's in, everything was given.
What was the last one? I'm sorry.
Patricia.
Papert Corsino.
And they subbed last year.
I believe Derek Phillips was already approved.
I was gonna say, were they approved on a prior one?
I was told no.
I don't remember this name.
Derek Phillips, Patricia Papert Corsino.
And Arlene
Derek
Flight.
Phillips is already approved
He's been
on the 28th. But the other two were.
So with Jamie Stone, Patricia Papert Corsino, and who else? There was one more.
Eric, somebody? Eric
Arlene
Flight.
Arlene Flight.
Arlene Flight.
see.
Did you get that, Joanne?
I don't know the spelling of that one.
Pepper, P-A-P-R.
P-A-P-P-E-R-C.
It's a hyphenated.
P-A-P-P-E-R. Oh, Pepper.
Packard,
Hyphen.
C-O-R-S-I-N.
yes, they're all like,
I know. I was aware that way, so.
So it's two added in addition to Jamie Stone.
Yes.
That's right.
Amen.
Patricia.
Okay, so any other public comment at this time? Alright, so under property and transportation, I need a motion to approve items number 1 and 2.
I'd like to make a motion to approve numbers number 1 and 2 under property and transportation.
I'll
Thank
second that.
you. Motion made by Naomi, seconded by Chaz. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. RYA basketball, didn't we approve this before for different dates? Is that what it
No,
was?
I actually came in today, I went in the back, I checked with Kathy, she pulled out the file right in front of me and has absolutely no record of an approval for it. So I filled one out on the spot, Joanne happened to be there and said I can get it on the agenda for tonight. We have 8 travel teams that are actually, 94% Runnymede kids, 4th through 8th grade, both boys and girls. Triton Black Horse Pike had approved us to do all of our summer workouts there, so that's where they were working out. Now we kind of planned on moving over to Volts, and under my understanding is it was done already. And again, Kathy pulled the file out right in front of me, so it would be starting tomorrow. I don't need to intervene, but I have to abstain anyway, so that's fine.
No, I'm glad, that was
Yes.
my question. I
Yeah.
just don't remember us ever beginning this
No,
early.
and normally we don't.
Okay.
We
Travel
normally,
teams,
here's the problem, we
Yeah,
normally
right.
begin in December, but because we're going in so undermined in this Camden County League now, because they are all working out now and over the summer. So the idea was if we could get used to the gym, to actually start them now, it would make us more competitive and definitely better.
Okay.
St. Teresa's utilizes, the other gym that the RY has access to much more this time of year than, later on, so this is actually our only place.
Okay, now my only other question then would be, once season begins for our teams here,
We
would
work-
games be over before
Yes.
practice ensues with?
Yes, we actually, Kathy is awesome about letting us know the school schedule and double headers. So on those nights, the facility, she emails us and says the facility used for such and such a date has to be, retracted because Volts has a double header, or she does give plenty of notice. It has happened in the past, she gives plenty of notice, then we're able to adjust things accordingly.
Okay, thanks,
So,
thank you.
any other questions? Roll call.
Angel Beebe?
Yes.
Charles Buckheim?
Yes.
Naomi Davidson?
Yes.
Mary Panzarella?
I have to abstain.
On just one?
Yes, I abstain on the first issue of facility use, and yes for number 2.
Patricia Smith?
Yes.
Samantha Spalding?
Yes.
Lynn Terrell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under personnel, I need a motion to approve items, number 1 to 5 with the, addition of Patricia Papper, Corsino, and Arlene Flight to the substitute list.
I make a motion.
I'll second that motion. Motion made by Maria, seconded by Patty. Any questions?
I just have a quick question. I didn't get a chance to really look through these job descriptions. Is there any big discrepancies between white copies and blue copies?
Basically, the blue copies for performance responsibilities,
Okay.
We look past the school secretaries, 11 through 17 are new. And
11 through 17.
And then it goes from 10 months to 12.
13 and 17, I believe, are also new, are additional, and there's also,
For regular secretary, say 13 through 17?
11 through 17 for school secretary.
Oh,
So that's for school, yeah, school secretary. So 11 through 17 on the blue is new.
right. For
And
the
then-
school secretary?
Yes.
Okay.
Executive,
There was about 7 additional ones for the executive secretary and superintendent as well.
So that would be 11 through 17 as well?
Roughly.
Roughly, okay. I haven't had a chance to compare, but thanks. Okay. We can always amend them later.
Yeah.
Thanks.
any other questions? Roll call?
Angel Beebe,
Yes.
Charles Buckheim,
Yes.
Naomi Davidson,
Yes.
Maria Panzarella,
Yes.
Tricia Smith,
Yes.
Samantha Spalding,
Yes.
Lynn Terrell,
I abstain.
motion carries.
I need to be excused for 1 minute to let her remember it in the main office. Right back.
Thank you, Mrs. Marker. Under finance, I need a motion to approve items number 1 through 5.
I'll make a motion to approve 1 through 5.
Motion made by Patty. Can I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Maria. Questions? So I have a question. Does this charter school apply, like, does that, what does that have to do with us at all?
It comes out of our funding. So we get a state notice in our state aid that says you have so many students at this particular charter school, and you're required to make monthly payments of this amount to pay the tuition towards.
So we have how many students at this?
One.
One.
Yeah.
And that's the year cost, that's
Yes.
not the, okay.
Yes.
And where is this charge from?
Any other questions? Hello, John.
So we have a Runnymede
Hello,
resident
everyone.
that's currently in this charter school. Okay.
Hi, Darlene, how are you? Any other questions? Roll call.
Angel Beebe,
Yes.
Charles Buckheim,
Yes.
Naomi Davidson,
Yes.
Maria Panzarella,
Yes.
Patricia Smith,
Yes.
Samantha Spalding,
Yes.
Lynn Terrell,
Yes.
motion carries. Oh, I'm sorry, John Ward.
Abstain?
Sorry, John.
Okay.
All right, at this time, we are open for recognition of citizens and staff on non-agenda items or agenda items. Mrs. Wilson?
Hi. I'd like to address the board. I know that approval was made tonight for several of us, for our jobs to move around. I debated whether to come in before, come in after, whatever. We want to thank you. We know that the board is supportive of us. I think that you understand, all of you, that how much we support the schools, students, staff, and our board. I think every one of our secretaries, as you can see, Peggy, Kathy, Sue, and that we're all here because we feel that we want you to know that there's nothing that's too much for us, that we step up to the plate every time. We went through a lot of difficult years. We've had a really, really tough time over the last several years, but we've done what we needed to do to get the job done, whether it was a last minute time, whether it was a long time. We were very nervous about this because we wanted a month to kind of make a transition and make things happen, but we know that we're going to take the time to make sure that things happen. Jobs have come up, and none of them were ever at the point where we could put in for them. There was requirements for jobs that none of us had, but as I said one time to an administrator, I don't need any piece of paper because I have a doctorate in running schools. And there isn't a person that hasn't started working here that I haven't answered a question for. And when I tell you this summer, with all the new administration, everybody just what a wonderful team you've built here and what you've allowed Mr. Iannucci to move on. And,
And just to add to that comment, at retreat, sitting through all of their presentations, I agree 100% with you.
And our staff the other day
I was totally blown away.
went through an opening day that staff members left and said, I had more discussion of education than I've had my 10 years here, my 5 years here, my 20 years here, that they just are amazed that we're moving in this direction. And our secretaries are here to support them. As you know, I think it's been difficult. I know pay's a thing that was a big question, but it's out there everywhere. And you could say that their bigger districts are making more money. But those bigger districts have one secretary who answers the phone, and one secretary who's the principal secretary, and one secretary who's the guidance secretary. School secretary's doing every one of that. Child study team, they're doing not just the child study team, they're helping with registrations, they're helping with, so we're doing multiple jobs, all of us. And we don't have a problem doing that. And so we just want you to know that we're there to do, and hopefully everyone can be on the same page with the pay that we're making and see that we're gonna earn the pay that we're making, that these girls need to get the pay that they know that they can earn, and hopefully that's the next step of us moving in that direction.
I don't
Because
think
we're all
pay-
supportive.
I don't think pay was ever an issue with the board, I think it was just as long as the protocol was followed, so there was no
Yes.
problem, nothing comes back to get us.
And we
We
used
support you
to,
very much, we know how
we
hard you
used to
work.
work as a team. We had a head secretary down there. And I think just like as Mr. Iannucci coming from the teaching, I started at, the funny part is where I'm gonna be sitting now is where I started as a part-time person in the business office. Same place, much smaller desk, no wall. And it's just knowing, and everybody said to me, why are you leaving the business office? Why are you leaving? Because I want to get out in the schools and see how the schools are run, and, and I just think that that's an asset for us now to meet as a group. Every year, we would say to the superintendent, as we did the superintendent this year, we need to meet once a month, we need to get together. And now we can do that because there's just somebody in that, somebody's me, that's going to take what's happening, because a lot of the administration don't have that time to,
Communication.
say, this has happened, we're doing this,
Yeah.
because they're busy working on the bigger thing. And so I just think it's a communication thing that we hopefully is going to open for us. So thank you.
Any other public comment?
I personally, as a parent, only because so far school year is only 4 days old, and I've had to call a couple mornings right around 7 a.m. And I just want to thank the staff for being here to answer the phones quite so early. It really, your work goes, Kathy, I've had the pleasure of dealing with all of you, and I appreciate each one of you for everything you do. So,
It's our pleasure.
Thank
I'm
you.
sometimes though.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, right. I'm speaking on behalf of them.
So, coming up later this evening tonight, there's a committee meeting for negotiations, so good luck with that.
Thank you.
And our next regular board meeting is set for September 25th. Our work session will start promptly at 6 p.m. Any other questions, issues, concerns?
Can you say that date again, September
25th,
6 p.m.
6 p.m. sharp. Okay. At this time, if there's no other questions, I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by Maria,
Second.
seconded by Lynn. All in favor?
All right.
Meeting adjourned at 6.